So, Janet, so do you have a question right now? Like a question or not really a question?
I have a question about smoking.
Okay, go ahead. What is your question?
Why keep smoking when...
Why do I keep smoking? When?
When there is no reason to
When
smoke.
there is no reason to smoke. When there is no reason to smoke. Okay. So I read you again the question. Why do I keep smoking when there is no reason to smoke? Is that it? Okay, very good. Yes. But let me first ask you something. Why do you want to ask such a question?
Because I have many reasons to not smoke.
Okay. So I have many reasons not to smoke. Now, let me ask you something. Suppose somebody has many reasons not to do something and no reasons to do that thing. Okay? Anything. Right?
Yeah.
But that person, in spite of having many reasons not to do it, but no reason to do it, still does that thing. Anything. How would you qualify that kind of person or that kind of thinking? What do you call it? In general. Crazy. Okay. Crazy. So somebody that does thing with no reasons to do it but many reasons against it is a crazy person. Okay? So right now, are you crazy in what you have described?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. But do you think you're crazy?
No.
No. So do we have a contradiction here?
We do.
We do. So how do you explain the fact, if I listen to you, you describe your functioning as crazy, but you don't think you're crazy. So how does that work?
I have a split personality.
I don't know what that means. Tell me.
No. Okay.
Now explain. Explain what you mean you have a split personality. What is split?
Okay. There are two parts to me.
Two parts. And can you name those two parts?
One part is reasonable.
Reasonable. And the other one is?
And the other part has reasons I don't understand.
Okay, reasons I don't understand. Okay. Now, if there are reasons you don't understand, those reasons, are they reasonable? The reasons you don't understand, are they reasonable or not reasonable?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, I'm happy you like it.
I do like it. They're not reasonable.
Well, what makes you say that, since you don't understand them? Could you say, I don't understand that person, but that person is not reasonable? Is that possible, or it doesn't make any sense?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
No.
So you have no reason to call yourself unreasonable because you don't understand your reasons. Are we good?
We are good.
You're good. So why do you accuse yourself of being unreasonable if you have no right to call yourself unreasonable?
I did a bad thing, Oscar.
I don't know. What bad thing did you do?
I jumped to a conclusion.
You jumped to a conclusion, okay? You jumped to a conclusion. But what was the nature of this conclusion? Or who was this conclusion about? Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about myself.
Yourself. And was your conclusion rather positive or rather negative?
It was...
Were you rather praising yourself or rather criticizing yourself? By saying you were unreasonable. You were saying, great, Janet, or, ooh, there's a problem, Janet.
That's a problem.
It's a problem, yes? Was it hard to decide that? That's a problem to call yourself unreasonable?
Was it hard? It was.
Well, are you
yes,
taking...
it was hard.
What? Okay, if you ask a child, 10-year-old, look, you're unreasonable, okay? Then you ask him, is that a praise or a criticism? It's going to take a long time to answer.
No.
Well, why do you take a long time to answer that?
I was looking for another word.
Another word.
Yeah.
Why were you looking for another word? You don't like the one you have?
Yeah, I was thinking unreasonable pointed to self-deception, and I was looking for.
Yeah, so is that positive or negative?
That's negative.
So why didn't you say it's negative and you start thinking like it was very complicated?
Because sometimes that which is not reasonable is fine. It just is.
That which is unreasonable is fine.
No, that is
So,
not reasonable.
yes.
It's fine.
So do you teach children to be unreasonable?
No, not unreasonable.
No, wait. So,
Yeah.
so if you ask, is to be unreasonable, is that a problem or no? Do you think it is?
Unreasonable? Problem.
Yes.
Not
But they
reason-
ask you if it was a praise or criticism, you start
Yeah.
thinking of all kind of things. No, it's
Distinction. Distinction.
It's all right. Did that make sense? You start thinking, wow, okay, is it a praise or a con? In other words, this hesitation, did it make sense or no?
Yes, it makes sense.
Makes sense. Why wouldn't a child do it then? Ask a child. You called unreasonable, criticism or praise? You say, he would say it's a criticism. We agree?
Yeah.
Well, why for you it's so complicated and for the child so simple?
Because I need to know whether it is simply not reasonable or unreasonable.
Yes. And not reasonable, that's a compliment.
It's more neutral.
It's, okay, but is it neutral?
It's like,
Is it neutral?
could be.
I'm asking if it could be. See again? I'm asking if it is neutral.
Not reasonable. It's context, but yeah, okay, it's
Okay.
in context.
Let's suppose I ask somebody, is it something? And the answer is, it could be something. Is the answer to my question or no? Ask him, is this some blah 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 something? And the answer is, it could be this. Is the answer to my question no?
It's yeah, okay. Essentially, no.
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 What's happening when you ask something? Is this blah blah blah? And he says it could be blah blah blah. What's going on? What is taking place?
One is imagining it in a context.
Imagining it in the context instead of
Seeing it in this context.
in this context, okay? So the person doing that is not in this context, but imagining in the context, yeah? Another context. Is that reasonable or not reasonable?
Very reasonable.
Yes, for you ask a question in this context, you imagine in another context, it's very reasonable.
See, Oscar, it depends.
Yes. When you say it depends, what are you doing again?
Imagining another context.
Imagine another context, okay? But in general, if you're in a classroom and you ask kids to answer a question in this context and they take you in another context, okay? Would you rather say this child is reasonable or not reasonable?
Not reasonable.
Not reasonable, yes? Okay? So therefore you think you're not reasonable in this context. I'm repeating.
Okay, yes, I understand.
Yes?
Yes, I took myself to another context.
You took yourself to another context instead of being in this context. How would you call somebody who is not in this context but always in the other context? What do you call that person? What would be a qualification?
Escapist?
Escapist. Okay, escapist. Now, would you recognize yourself that something happens to you that you're escapist? Or no, that's not you.
Yes.
Okay. Huh? Okay. Good. Now, let's go back to the thing I want to see earlier. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's go back earlier. You jumped to conclusion, remember? Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay. And you said, who are you talking about, yourself? Myself, right? And to find out, there was a problem, right? But actually it was not, and you jumped to conclusion. What do you think of somebody who jumps to conclusion too quickly to criticize himself? Yes? Okay? What would you qualify a person that too quickly jumps to conclusion to criticize himself? What would you know about this person?
They are avoiding the real criticism.
Well, it's to avoid the real criticism. They criticize themselves to avoid the real criticism. Yes?
Yeah, go quick, then don't have to see, really.
Don't have to see. So we still are the escapism again. Okay? Alright, good. So, why do I keep smoking when there is no reason to smoke? Is that possible there's something about escapism in there?
Okay, that I have to...
Why do I keep smoking when there is no reason? Could escapism explain that?
Maybe there is a reason. I don't want
No,
to
no. Right now I'm asking if escapism could explain this.
Yes.
That you do something with no reason, right? When you have no reason to do it. Could escapism explain this?
Yes.
Yes? How would it work? How would escapism explain the situation?
But one pretends there is no reason when there is a reason.
Okay, one pretends. There is no reason, but actually there is a reason. Okay. There is a reason. Okay? So, when there is a reason and a person pretends there's no reason, what do you call that?
Escapism.
Escapism. So we're still maintaining escapism, yes? Okay? Does it surprise you how much now this word keeps coming back?
Oh yes.
It surprises you.
Very much, yes.
It's not something that you would use for yourself. No. Okay. All right. But it does make sense right now. Okay. All right. So well, that's fine. Since now you suspect there might be a reason, just you haven't said it. Well, let's try it. What could be the reason to smoke? Just one reason. What could be the reason to smoke? You've been smoking for a while, or just started last week?
Oh, a long time.
Long time. So maybe it would make sense. There could be at least one reason. Would it make sense? Okay. Well, give us. What could be one reason to smoke? Or you don't know, actually. If you don't know, you tell me I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. How long you been smoking like this, without revealing a secret?
Since 18.
Since you were 18. Okay, so that's a few years. I don't ask you a precise answer. That's a few years. Now, would it make sense that somebody who teaches philosophy tell you, I've been doing this for a few number of years, and I have no clue why I do it? Does it make sense, or it makes no sense?
Makes no sense.
Okay. What could explain this nonsensical statement? What could explain it?
There's...
I teach philosophy. I've been doing something for 100 years. I teach philosophy, and I have no clue why I do this thing for 100 years. Okay? This makes sense or no?
No.
No. So, what could explain this situation?
I don't do it.
You don't do what?
I don't smoke.
No, but you do. You do smoke. You do something. I've been doing something for 100 years. I am, whatever, not smoking or anything else. I'm a philosophy professor. But I have no clue why I do this thing for 100 years, okay? Right? What could explain such a you know, situation.
But
You don't know.
I don't do it. My body doesn't.
Oh, okay, I don't do it. I don't do it. My body does it. Okay, okay, okay. That could be an explanation. That could be an explanation. Yes. Don't worry. But Descartes, if you want, but that could be an explanation. Yes. Okay. Now, if you go to the marketplace, you tell people, "Look, people, I've been doing it for many years. I don't know why, but it's not me. I don't do it. My body does it." What will those people, marketplace, what will they think about this statement?
I think I'm talking about my heart beating.
Yes, no, but what will they think about the statement itself? Not what they're talking about. What will they think about that kind of? First of all, will they think that makes sense or no?
No.
No. What would they think? What would they tell you, those people? What would they think about this kind of statement?
She doesn't think she is her body.
She doesn't think she's her body. Okay. I think she's her body. And indeed, when you say that, does it seem like you don't think you're your body?
Yes.
Right. Now, if you're not your body, who are you?
The one with good reasons.
The one with good reasons. Okay. Now, remember that we discovered that sometimes we ask you a question about here, and then with your answer, you imagine somewhere else. Who is not here? Your body, or the thing with good reasons?
Now, my body.
Now, who is not there? When you ask
Now?
not yes. When I ask you a question about something, you say, I'm imagining being somewhere else and not here. Remember this?
Yeah.
Yes? And I'm asking, is the body here or somewhere else in those cases?
The body is here.
Body's here. What's not here? The good
Mind.
reasons?
Yeah, the good reasons.
Okay. So the good reasons are somewhere else.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So, the body's here and the good reasons are somewhere else. We good?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Indeed? Did you experiment sometimes this disconnection? Body's here and your ideas are somewhere else. This is what you call a split. Is that something you experience sometime? You're not where? You're not here. You're somewhere else.
Okay.
Yes, no? Is that an experience you know?
Yeah, I think.
Yes?
Yeah.
Your body's here and your good reasons somewhere else.
Yeah.
Speaks to you?
I think so, yeah.
Yes. Are you here right now?
Yeah.
Well, your answer. I want you to say, yes, okay, your body's here and you're somewhere else.
No, I'm here.
No, do you know that experience that your body's here,
Yeah.
but your mind is elsewhere?
Yes.
And in fact, people you know, do they tell you this sometimes?
Yes.
Yes. Huh? So they have seen this. They have witnessed it, they tell you.
Yes.
But when they tell you, you recognize it or no? No, you deny it. Yes. Okay? Huh? But now you see that it makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yes? Okay. Huh? All right. So, what you call a split. Remember? Okay. Are you okay? Or you seem strange?
They can't be right.
They can be right. Why is it that they can be right?
They are not reasonable.
They are not reasonable. But you are reasonable. Yes?
Mm.
But in what we have seen so far, do you think you're reasonable or not? In what we've seen so far here. Does that sound reasonable or no?
No.
Why not?
It lacks integrity.
Lacks integrity. And what do you call integrity here?
Where there is no split between mind and body.
Okay, there is no split. Yes? Okay. Huh? So an integrity would be where there's no split, but here there's a lack of integrity because there's a split. Okay. Suppose you have a student. I have this. Okay. He has a split, no integrity, and you think that's a problem, right? What could you tell that student? What could you tell him? Some kind of counsel. Anything. Have you encountered this with students or no?
I haven't addressed it, I don't think.
No, I'm not saying if you addressed it. I'm asking have you seen it or no? If you haven't seen it, tell me I haven't seen it.
Maybe.
No,
No,
far in
no.
your memory, have you seen
No.
it? No. You haven't seen it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you have seen it.
Yes, of course.
Yes, you have seen it in some students. So you're not the only one having that.
Yes.
Right? Yeah? No.
Not there.
Okay. Now, when you have seen students that had this thing, did you address it or no?
No.
No. Why not?
I thought I had other responsibilities.
Other, like what, for
More
example?
significant, more important.
More important, in other words, so it's not important to be split. Yes? Right? It's not important. Right? Yes? Comparatively,
Compared to something.
yes, it's always comparative. It's not
Yeah,
absolute.
okay.
You think this is not important, yes? But in yourself, do you think that's important, this thing, or not important either?
No, it's important. Very
It's important, yes? Now, if you think it's important, why didn't you address it in these other students? And even that, and you claim that it's not important, but you think it's important. So why didn't you address it?
Perhaps because I need to address it in me first.
Okay, you need to address it in you. And do you have the impression you addressed that issue in yourself, or not really?
I had the impression.
You had the impression.
I did.
But when people tell you you have this thing, did you say you recognize it or no?
I say you are projecting.
Yes, so do you recognize it or no?
No.
No. So if somebody doesn't recognize something to others, is there a good chance he addresses it, or rather he does not address it?
Oh no. Why did
Don't address it, yeah? Okay. So can we try to address it? Okay, so let's go back. You have a student, he has this thing, right? He's split, right? Between his body being here, his mind being elsewhere. What could you tell him? That's any journal counsel, whatever. You know, using either your knowledge of philosophy or philosophers or whatever, your intuitions, anything. What would you tell such a person that you think could be helpful? You have no idea.
Maybe you must understand your body first.
You must understand your body first, yes? Okay. Understand your body first, yes. Okay. Let me go back for just 1 minute. You say, why do I keep smoking when there's no reason to smoke? Can this have something to do with the split?
It helps maintain the split.
Okay. It helps maintain the split. And is this coherent with escapism to help maintain the split?
Yeah.
Yes, so we have two reasons that fit well together.
Oh.
I do this because of escapism, and second, it helps maintain the split, right? So somebody that does something to escape and help maintain the split, would that person rather tend to address the problem or rather tend not to address the problem?
Not address.
Not to address the problem, okay? So, let's go back. You tell this person, you have to understand your body first. Yes? Okay. So what's happening is somebody that does not understand his body. What's going on? What's the main characteristic of someone not understanding his body?
So, yeah, they think they're immortal.
They think they're immortal. Okay? And indeed, that's the disconnected mind.
Yes,
Seem to give us some kind of immortality.
illusion of
Okay? But do you think you're immortal?
No,
No. So what's going on here?
I'm escaping my mortality.
You're escaping your mortality. Okay? Escaping mortality. Now let's look at a fun one. Is it possible that smoking has something to do with escaping mortality? Funny, eh?
Defying.
Is it interesting?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So look, we found 3 reasons
Oh.
why you would smoke so far. You know, you go deeper, right? Escapism, right? Help meeting the split, and escaping mortality. See this?
Yes,
Are these 3 good reasons to smoke?
Not bad.
Not bad. So good. So you should keep smoking.
Thanks, Oscar.
Yes? Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you're a philosopher. How come you never thought of these things? They came relatively easy. We didn't have to put on a, you know. So how come you didn't think about these things? Well, you don't.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
What's
And when
this?
people tell you, when people, does it surprise you didn't think about it, by the way?
I had a hint, but anyway, I didn't pursue it.
You
No,
didn't
I
pursue,
surprisingly I
okay.
didn't pursue
You
it.
didn't pursue. And why you think you didn't pursue it?
So I can believe I'm immortal.
So you can believe you're immortal, so it's coherent,
Oh, very
yes?
good, yeah.
If you ask yourself, you discover, yes, you're immortal. So you can believe you're immortal, yes? Okay. Is that okay with you, that to want to believe you're immortal? Is that okay, or do you think that's a problem? Somebody wants to believe he's immortal.
That's a problem.
You
Okay.
say, you think it's a problem.
Okay.
Hey, what do you mean okay? Why do you say okay?
I admit it's a problem.
You admit, but why do you say I admit? Okay, I admit. What's going on? Why don't you say simply, yeah, okay, it's a problem? Why do you say, okay, it's a problem? When you ask a student something, you say, yeah, okay, it's a problem. What's going on in his mind?
It's a problem I don't want to address.
It means that he doesn't want to address it. When you say, okay, it's a problem, that means he doesn't want to address.
The problem.
Okay?
So it's not really a problem.
Well, he doesn't want to address, when he doesn't want to address it, is that a problem or no?
A problem you must address.
A problem you must address, yes? But does he want it, then why do you say, okay, it's a problem? Yes, okay.
Yeah, because then he is admitting it's a problem, but not committing to solving it, addressing it.
He's admitting it's a problem, but not committing himself to what?
To addressing it.
Okay, no commitment to address it. Yes? Do you think we should always commit ourselves to addressing a problem? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Always?
If the problem is now,
Yes.
but not if it's in another context.
Okay. But do you tend to put things in another context? As we saw?
Sometimes.
Is that what we have seen in this discussion?
Sometimes.
Yes, but
So
is
I
there
can-
such a tendency? Have we seen it? It's okay, it's okay. In this discussion,
Mm.
have we seen there's a tendency to put things in another context?
So I can address
No,
other
no,
ones
no,
now.
no. It's okay, I'm your friend. It's okay, no problem. Huh? But in this discussion, have we seen that you tend to put things in another context? Remember earlier?
Tend?
Yes, this tendency. You have been doing this a few times.
Okay.
Yes? Oh, okay. Yes? So indeed, by putting it in another context, does that allow us not to address it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that's a good strategy or a bad strategy?
It helps prioritize.
It helps.
Prioritize.
Okay, it helps prioritize. Yes, it helps prioritize. What does that mean?
Find the most important problem first.
Okay, find the most important thing. Now explain a little bit. Okay, say, okay, I put things out of context so I don't have to address the problem, and it helps prioritize. Yes, and explain a little bit. How does that work?
So I can address what I think is more important.
Okay, I address what I think is more important. So that sounds like a good strategy.
Yeah.
Yes. So after having thought it's a problem, you think that's fine. Yes. So escapism can be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay?
Then you're not living the life.
You're not living your life.
No.
Well, how's that? Why you say that? You're not living your life. Why not? Living your life, sorry. Why not, living your life? Why do you say that?
Because your life is now.
Your life is now, and not what?
And not in another context.
And not in another context. This is funny. So when you're going in another context, you're not living. Yes. What do you call it when you're not living? What are you doing?
You're recognizing your...
No,
recognizing... No.
You make it simple. We're not living. What are you doing?
You're...
What's the opposite of living? Okay.
It's the Fado, it's...
Let's ask a 10-year-old boy.
Dying.
Hey, thank you.
Fado told me.
Dying, yes. That was hard to get this word out.
Because I quarrel with Plato.
Yeah, don't worry about Plato and quarrels, okay? Now, it's an interesting idea that when you are not here and you are somewhere else, you want to go somewhere else, don't want to be here, it's a form of death.
Yes.
Yes. But we found something interesting. We found that you do this to be immortal. You didn't find this?
We did find it.
So, this is such a thing, paradox, but it may be interesting, that you would die to be immortal.
I'm a martyr.
Huh?
I'm a martyr.
A martyr. Oh, martyr, yes. Yes,
Ooh.
okay, I am a martyr, yes. Okay. And does a martyr indeed die to be immortal?
Yeah.
Good. Did you cross your mind, this thing?
No.
No. So, indeed, no. Is there something, do you sometimes indeed identify to a martyr?
Mm. When I was young.
Yes, when you were young, yes?
Yeah.
And
When you were
older,
young.
yes, and older, do you ever identify to a martyr in your life? In any way?
Okay, Socrates.
No, I don't know Socrates. I'm thinking the Janet right now, not Socrates.
I identify with
you identify, sorry. You
With-
identify to Socrates, and Socrates would be a martyr.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, yes. And so sometimes, so the idea of being a martyr, yes. And indeed you have the impression that Socrates, by dying, became immortal.
Yes.
Yes, alright,
Yes.
like that so.
And only one life, a life of
Okay,
philosophy.
and indeed, is it possible that smoking helps you attain this martyrdom? Well, look at it this.
Ah,
Yes? You got the idea?
because I then can put my body aside to think.
Okay. You put your body aside. Okay, now, indeed, now, let's look. When people tell you not to smoke, what's the main argument they use to you?
It will harm my body.
Harm your body. And in that context, are you worried about harming your body?
Yeah.
Well, what we saw right now, when you want to become a martyr, do you worry about your body?
No.
Does the martyr worry about his body?
No.
And indeed, if it will hurt your body, is that a problem to you or not a problem to you?
Not.
When you want to become a martyr, is it a problem that your body will be harmed or not a problem?
It'd be like having to stop philosophy.
It would be having to stop philosophy. So for you, philosophy has to do with martyrdom, and therefore the body is not an issue. Is that okay with you?
Maybe.
And in fact, if you were proposed the following thing, you hurt your body and you become this martyr, or you don't hurt your body and you don't become this martyr, what would you take? You're told you preserve your body, but no, none of this immortality of martyrdom. Or say, you don't hurt your body, you preserve it, you know? Which one would you take? What's more important to you? This immortality of martyrdom or preserving your body? You know.
If immortality.
No, there's no if.
Okay,
there's
immortality of martyrdom. I'll go that one.
Yes, and in fact, isn't that clear from what, you know, the little I know of you in this discussion is not very clear. Yes, does that surprise you? Or no?
It does.
It does. It does or does not?
It does.
It does. Why does it surprise you?
Because I thought philosophy is living, being alive, but it's
Philosophy is being alive.
my mind is alive.
Yes, okay. And is it concerned with the body being alive? Okay, but the mind. So life in Janet, what is life in Janet, therefore? Is it more the body or more the mind?
More the mind.
Okay. Does it surprise you yourself that you're more concerned about the life of your mind than the life of your body? Does that concern you? Sorry, does that surprise you? If yesterday somebody would ask you, it surprises you.
Yes.
Yes? You would have thought that your body is more important than your mind. Yes. Yes, no?
It's all the same. I would say it's the same. Both.
Well, the same, you know. Play to tell is a very nice thing, I always say, you know.
Yeah.
When you're
I mean,
little children,
I would say that.
you would have said what?
It's the same. My
No,
body, my
I
mind.
know, but you know, I say Plato says when you're little children, you want both at the same time. When you grow up, you learn to choose. In the axiology of Janet, would have asked you before this, what's more important, Janet, to your body or your mind? What would you have said? Even if it's a slight extra, which one would you have said?
Oh, my mind.
Your mind, yes? But then why don't you say, instead of saying, oh, it's the same?
Because I'm always thinking it's the same.
You think it the same, but do you think it the same?
I try to think it the same.
Okay, I try to think it's the same. Okay, I try to think it's the same. Okay, but are you escaping the reality of your thinking by trying to think it the same?
Yeah.
Yes, we find again this. But then, see, when somebody tries to do something, yeah, try to think something, he thinks something, but he tries to think something else, okay? See what I mean? Somebody thinks something, but he tries to think something else. Have you ever seen this in people?
Yeah.
No, they think something and they try hard to think. Even sometimes they'll confuse what they think when they try to think. Noticed? Yes?
Right, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
It's very common. So why would you try to think that they're equal when it's visible they're not? Why would you try to think such a thing? What pushes you to try to think it?
Because you wouldn't want to give up either.
Okay, you wouldn't want to give up either. It's nice. You wouldn't want to give up either. You have raised children, and you have seen sometimes his behavior in a child. He doesn't want to give up either. You have seen it.
Right.
Yes? And in fact, you criticize this. When he wants both at the same time, he doesn't want to give up either. Yeah, one of your boys. You've seen it, I imagine.
Yeah, okay.
And you've criticized that, or no?
Yes.
Yes. So what's your main argument for criticizing this, when he doesn't want to give up either? What do you tell the boy? There's two things that you can't have both at the same time. You know, you have to give up one, but he doesn't want to give up either. What do you tell him?
You'll have to choose.
You have to choose. Yes? But do you like choosing, or you don't like choosing? It can be hard. Yes, if it's hard, do you like what's hard or you don't like what's hard? It depends. Okay, we're trying to get it out of the context. Okay, but it's hard. Yes. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now, does the fact of not wanting to choose have something to do with mortality or immortality or none? Do you understand my question?
Yeah.
Does the fact of having to choose has something to do with mortality and immortality?
Yeah, to do with mortality.
To choose is mortality. Why?
Because it's limited.
It's limited. Choice limited. When immortality, therefore, is
What's the word? Infinite.
it's infinite. Yes, and in immortality, you don't have to choose. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that explain as well why, why do I keep smoking when there's no reason to smoke? Has something to do with as well choosing and mortality and immortality.
Choosing the infinite, or believing I've chosen, believing I
Yes.
can choose.
Well, when does that sometime cross your mind you should stop smoking? Sometimes it does or no?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the main obstacle to stopping smoking? You tried maybe?
Oh yeah, I've done it.
Okay, what's the main obstacle?
Main obstacle.
Yeah.
It
You have to
becomes,
choose one.
because my mind becomes preoccupied with one thing.
Okay.
Don't smoke.
Preoccupied with one thing.
Mm.
Okay. What's the opposite of being preoccupied with one thing?
Oh, all things.
With all things. Which one has to do with mortality? Preoccupied with one thing or preoccupied with all things?
One thing?
Yes. And which has to do with choosing? Preoccupied with one thing or all things?
Choosing is one thing.
One thing. You have to make a choice. Yes. Huh? When all things, no choice to be made. So another reason why we keep smoking is that you don't want to make a choice and you want to be with immortality and all things and not just one thing. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay? Yes, okay. So I propose to you that what we do is we stop here for now, but analyze a bit all this. What did you think? It's good, bad, interesting, not interesting, whatever. What do you think? But what we have done together, yes. What do you think of it?
I'll do this.
Huh?
I will do. Oh, now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
Not
think?
another context. This one.
No, we analyze. What do you
okay.
think is good, bad, useful, whatever. What do you think what we have done together? What's your evaluation of this? We've been working 45 minutes together, almost 50. What do you think of it?
Well, I think your questions have
Well, let's start generally.
led me to the heart.
It led you to the heart, okay?
Of the
So
problem.
you like that?
Yes, I
Yes? Why?
did. Because it is a place I can return to.
It's a place I can return to. Yes? In opposition to what?
To going into another context.
Going in another context.
Escaping.
So it's the non-escaping, yes?
I think so.
Yes. But in generally, we saw that there's a lot of escapism. Why would you like the fact of not escaping? Since you often, or sometimes at least, tend to escape. What would you like not escaping? What do you like about it?
Because it is living.
Because?
It is living.
It is living. So when you escape, you're not living.
No, dying.
You're dying, yes? But you're dying to become a martyr. Now when you're returning to, then what's the difference?
To return to.
You have this in your mind, clear or no? See, on the one side, there's a now. And then there's a tendency to escape to attain martyrdom and immortality. But you say I force you to come back, to return to. Yes? You see this dilemma? Yes? Okay, sounds a bit like the return to the originary.
Yeah.
Yes? So what do you think of this? Do you like the idea of returning to, coming back here?
Because it's a place.
It's a
from
place.
which I believe I can make choices from.
It's a place I can make choices. Because this other place, you cannot make choices.
No.
And what's happening? What would be the problem of not making choices?
Again, living is about choosing.
Living is about choosing. Yes? So there's something problematic about this dying. About this being elsewhere and not making choices.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? And what's the main problem of being this wells? In other words, what's the problem about this dying?
Wasting.
It's wasting.
Wasting a life.
Wasting the life, yes? And indeed, does the martyr think that he can waste his life? Yes.
Yes, he does.
Yes, and why does he think he can waste his life?
Perhaps life is not worth having.
Is not worth having.
Unless.
Unless?
Ba.
Yes, unless papa papa papa. Now, if it's a Christian martyr, what is this papa papa papa?
Christians.
If it's a Christian martyr, the ones,
Yeah.
What's his papa papa that makes that his life is not worth living unless papa papa papa? What is it for a Christian martyr, for example?
Perhaps eternal life.
Eternal life, okay? Yes, huh? Now what is it for you, this papa papa papa? What is this thing that would make your life not worth living unless... Is it eternal life or something else?
Yeah, maybe. It's maybe to do with that. Yeah, okay.
So for you too, it's eternal life.
Yeah, okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Is your eternal life the same as a Christian eternal life? Or no, it's another kind of eternal life? Would you say rather it's the same thing? That's what the Christian martyr is hoping for, eternal life, or no, there's something different about it? No, basically it's the same, of the same nature.
Could be the same nature.
For you it's the same nature, yes? Yes? Good?
Yeah.
No fundamental difference.
As far as I know.
Okay, as far as you know, it's the same thing, yes? Okay. Now, so let's come back this way. If it's then, is there a problem with this function? You think that's fine?
I'm very critical of Christian.
But why critical of it? Look, if you would say, give up your 80 years now, whatever it is, to get eternal life, isn't that a good deal?
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Then what's wrong with it?
Well, the eternal life isn't really life, though.
Oh, what is it?
Because there's no choices. It's just, I don't know.
Yes. Well, let's look at it this way. If I now give you something, give you a deal, okay? You sort of now, in these 80 years, you just escape in that, but you get eternal life, right? I have the power to do this. You take it or no?
No.
Why not?
It's eternal death.
Is it, and why is it death?
There's no choices.
There's no choices. Could there be something positive about having this no choices and having death? Could there be something positive about it? Nothing. Then why are you so fascinated by it? if there's nothing positive about it? Or does it make sense? Someone will be fascinated by something, and they say there's nothing positive about it. Does it make sense or it doesn't make sense?
Doesn't make sense.
It makes sense. So there must be at least something, one characteristic you would say, hey, good. What is it?
The possibility of choices.
The possibility. So there's no choice, but there's possibility of choices. Yes? Okay? So there's not something, but the possibility of this something. Yes? Okay. What does it mean to go for the possibility of something rather than the actuality of something? Right? Remember in Aristotle, possibility, actuality?
Yeah.
What kind of person would go for the possibility of something rather than the actuality of something?
Somebody who didn't value the actuality.
Yes. So if that person doesn't value the actuality, what does that person value? How does that person function? Yes, he connects to the possibility of something.
Functions.
Do people around you, like your sons or other people, say, hey, Janet, you're not with the reality here. You are, and there might be some others, you're in the possibility of something, but not in the reality of something. Did something tell you that?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you recognize it, or generally not?
No.
No.
I
So what do they accuse you of when they say that? If they have to characterize you, Janet, you are, what would they say?
Head in the clouds.
Okay, head in the clouds, okay? Is that something they do sometimes? You use your head in the clouds? Is that true? You have the head in the clouds sometimes?
Sometimes.
Yes. Now, can there be something positive about this? About having the heads in the clouds? Nothing.
Yes. Something
Go ahead.
positive.
What?
Because you can bring order. You can see the big picture. So
You can see the big pictures. And in fact, those people that accuse you of lacking reality, do they see the big picture or do they see
No.
the small picture?
Small picture.
And you tell them?
Yes.
Yes. So do you recognize having the heads in the clouds?
Do I recognize? Oh, okay. Yeah.
You do it or no?
Yeah.
You tell them. You tell them, yes, you're right, I have the heads in the clouds.
Ah.
Or you don't.
No, I say where my head is, it connects with
The big picture.
The big picture, and
Yes.
that is having
And his
feet on the
small
ground.
picture. Yes.
Don't
Yes.
connect with the big picture, is feet on the ground.
Yes, yes. And in fact, does smoking makes you stay connected to the big picture rather than the small picture.
Mm.
Yes?
Yes.
So that's would be a reason why you would smoke. Yes? But listen, we found many reasons why you smoke.
It's
You realize this? Are they huge, the reason we found why you smoke?
They're huge.
And how come you don't, you didn't think about it, you didn't come up with it, or well, how do you explain that? You who likes the big picture. How come you did not say, okay, I smoke because, well, why not, you think?
Because I needed assistance.
You needed it, but why? You're a big girl, yeah? Why would you need assistance? What specifically? See, if somebody needs assistance, well, I'm crippled, I cannot walk, I need assistance, I need because of my legs are fragile, something like that, I have a broken leg. Why would you need assistance? Well,
Because the tension, there must be a tension between holding the big picture and dealing with the details of the little picture.
Okay, there's tension between the whole, okay.
Because I have so many children, maybe.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a tension in the big picture and the small picture. The small picture is pulling and pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah? Something like that? Yes?
Yeah.
That's an experience that you know.
Yeah.
Yes?
do that.
Okay. And what's the consequence of the tension? What is it produces an effect, this tension? That doesn't allow you to
To be no.
be now. I don't understand.
Oh no, maybe okay.
What is the effect on you of this tension between, okay, people pushing you to be in the small picture, you want to be in the big picture? What's the effect? Is that a positive or rather the negative
Okay.
effect? Very well.
It's interesting.
Interesting. Wow, what's interesting about it?
It's challenging.
It's challenging. So, do you think that tension has a good reasons to be?
Yes.
But sometimes, would you wish to get rid of it?
No.
No, you always want to keep it.
Yes.
So every time they ask you, hey, you're not here, you're happy. Oh, good. Or does it get on your nerves sometimes?
No, it doesn't get on my nerves.
Never. You're always happy when they say, hey, you're not seeing the big picture. Sorry, when they tell you, you're in the clouds, come back here. You're always happy when people do this.
Okay, I don't mind too much because.
No, unless if you mind too much. I'm asking if something bothers you.
Not what they say, how they say it.
Oh, yeah, but so it bothers you.
Only how.
Yes, but so it bothers you when they say it. If the house says it, it bothers you when they say it. What is it? Why is it so hard to see that there's something bothersome about it?
Because I don't mind what they say.
Yes, but
I like it. I don't even like it.
yes, but then they say it in a certain way.
They're violent.
Yes.
They can be violent.
Okay. So you don't like.
No.
But is it normal that it's a tension this produces violence? Is that coherent? Is that coherent or no? That this tension it produces violent effect. Makes sense or no?
Yeah. Makes
Now what kind of person would say, okay, have tension but no violence? Is that person realist or not realist?
Not a realist.
Yes. Huh? So does the how have something to do with the what?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh? So this violence is bothering you.
Mm.
Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes they're violent in the way they call upon you.
Mm.
Yes?
Yes.
Now this violence, can it have a positive effect? This violence. Oh, you make a big grin there.
Oh.
So you'd say no.
Only. Okay.
Somebody's in the big picture, in the clouds. The other's in the small picture, here. And the people in the small picture are violent, calling upon the one with the big picture. Yes, I'm asking, can that violence have a positive thing? Positive reasons to be?
Well, it pulls you back into the small picture.
Yes. Can a martyr be a martyr without violence?
No.
No. Does the martyrdom need the violence to be able to have immortality?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Does he need this violence to become a martyr?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
course.
Would Socrates be Socrates without the violence that was done to him?
No.
No. And does the violence has something with the reality of what he was doing to people in the city?
Yes.
Yes. So does all these things go together? This is violent, but this violence is bothering you.
Well, I try to escape.
You try to escape violence, yes? So do you really want to become a martyr?
No,
or not?
I
No,
don't.
you've changed your mind. No more martyrdom. Yes? Okay. So again, we fall on the tension there is between wanting immortality or not wanting immortality, yes? And again, that has something to do with smoking. Does smoking help you cope with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah,
How?
Because it makes you.
It's getting tired.
The smoking helps. Makes
Mm.
me if I smoke, well, my head is not in the clouds.
When there's violence, would you tend to smoke when there's violence?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, that's just. Well, I won't get so I can be elsewhere.
Can be elsewhere. Okay. So I propose now. Do you have any other comment? Did anything surprise you in all this exercise? Anything particular say it was surprising or anything?
I hadn't thought about the soliciting, the inviting of violence with
Yeah.
attention. That was
Surprising?
yeah. Even though we talked about it yesterday, but
Right.
I see in another way.
Okay. Yeah. But that bothers you, this violence thing.
Yeah, I can.
Of everything we've seen, that's what seems to bother you the most, is violence thing.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, it's enormous fear.
Fear. Okay. All right. Anything else surprised you in this exercise, or?
Well, there's a lot still to process, but
Yeah.
and even I think there'll be some more choices to make at the end.
Okay.
And I think.
But anything surprised you in what
Oh,
you said?
surprising!
Yes.
It now all seems self-evident.
It now seems self-evident. Okay, all right, good. That's nice. Yeah. Okay. That generally, by the way, is the thing of this. Is we things will appear that you always knew, but sometimes we don't really look at it right in the face. That tends to happen, and suddenly it appears evident, which is not. Now, either this evidence we accept it, or we
don't,
just
yeah.
or don't, and then exactly. Okay. Anything else, or basically, that's it. Full your it goes in. The head is now full of things. Okay.
My head is full of things.
Okay,
I need
so-
time, more time.
So no last comments. Okay.
I
Stop.
think so. Yeah.
Okay. So good. Yeah.